Welcome, and thank you for joining us for another edition of Live by Heart Today with your hosts, Dawn Spiegelberg and Wendy R. Wolf. Our show begins now. Streaming from Retro Earth Studio and brought to you by
Learn to play jazz piano like a pro, by a pro, with Jazz Piano Pro Essentials at jazzpianopro.com.
and wearehistorically.com, conscious human apparel. It's time for the next episode of Live by Heart
Today.
Hello, and welcome to the Live by Heart Today show number 38. This is a show designed to help you navigate change, uncertainty, and the new world we found ourselves living in. We'll talk a little bit about science, a little bit about how our body works, a little bit about intuition, and we'll talk a lot about transformation. I'm Dawn Spiegelberg, posture therapist and coherence coach. We're focusing on being proactive, and we're winding down that focus. Today's theme is Let the Good Times Roll. And with me for our Heart to Heart today is my co-host, Wendy R. Wolf, professional transformation facilitator. And it makes sense that this show is about transformation and that you are the co-host. Welcome, Wendy.
Thank you, Dawn. I'm so grateful to be here. And I love this focus because it's been a rough year. It's been a tough year. And it's been a year full of a lot of challenges. And here we are in the time that a lot of us enjoy, a lot of festivity. We're in the holy days, the holidays. And can we allow ourselves, even with all that's going on, can we allow ourselves to enjoy it? Can we allow ourselves to love each other and be life and share light? It's a good focus.
I think so, because we've never lived these times. No one has ever lived these times. And when you look back on all the things that have gone on in the world, right? When you look at history, what is true? People keep living despite the things that happen that are tragic and the suffering. We live on. And if we're going to live on, we can choose to live and be grateful for just being alive.
Yes.
So I want to say thanks, Wendy, for shining your light and for living by heart, because you doing that helps me to live bigger and better and in more joy. So I so appreciate that.
Thank you. All back at you, Dawn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. And you're reminding me of one of my favorite movies of all time that was so great to see in the theater, which is Jurassic Park. God, I love that movie so much.
I know.
And
it.
oh my God, I love that movie. And the greatest line in it is "Life finds a way. Life will find a way."
Oh.
And can we find a way? And can we, while we're at it, can we enjoy it? And that's part of my spiritual practice. You know, my spiritual practice is built on two pillars: neutrality, which we've talked a lot about, especially in the beginning, and amusement, the playfulness, the taking it lightly. Because from that place, we can roll through anything.
Would you talk a little bit more about amusement? Because I think when you say amusement, people may think humor. And amusement is not just humor.
It's not just humor. And playfulness isn't just humor. It's like, you know, the archetypal things at a funeral, in front of the judge, these kinds of things. We can be neutral and amused. We can be playful. And the only way they know it is the little twinkle in our eye. Because it's just not appropriate to be rolling and playing and, you know, in these kinds of situations. But we can still have that amusement because amusement, playfulness built with neutrality then I can take things lightly.
Yes.
I can change. It's like, how do I change? I'll tell you. I mentioned last time we had a death in the family, and we were getting ready to go. And I'm like, the honest to honest is like, I see no joy in this.
Mm.
And I need to figure out how to have joy in this process, because I don't want to go if it's going to just be crap.
Right. Yeah. Who wants to do that?
Right. And it reminded me when I was leaving Seattle and I was really grieving. I was going to Australia. It got diverted, but I was leaving like my home, my country, my people, my stuff, my kids, my everything. And I was like, there's no joy here for me. I can't, like, and so I made the scheme in which, all right, well, we weren't accepted yet. Our visas weren't accepted yet. So let's put everything in the car and we'll sell the car in LA. We're going to fly out of LA anyway. Right. Like, so I made this great scheme. We had so much fun. Oh my gosh. But the important thing is it got me get my butt out of Seattle with joy instead of with suffering. Because there was so much to let go of.
And when you did it with joy, you did it with more energy, right? Because suffering is so heavy and it's so difficult, and
I need a carrot.
And you gave yourself a carrot.
I gave myself a carrot. So can we give ourselves a carrot?
I'll tell you, this reminds me, the Irish give themselves carrots. I was visiting in the year 2000, and I was at a museum, and I started chatting with a door guard, somebody who's there keeping an eye on things. And he said he had mentioned to me that his uncle had died. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. And he said, don't be sorry for me. And I was like, what? Right? Because here, death is so serious. He said, don't be sorry for me. We're going to celebrate. And we get to start celebrating as soon as I'm done with work. Right?
Oh, praise God.
So that, you kind of hear stories about that, but when you actually experience it, and he said, we're all going to tip one up for him. And it's an opportunity to remember the good things about this person and to get together and celebrate. And I think that's the way it should be done, right?
Absolutely.
With amusement.
Right. Yeah. With amusement, with playfulness, with joy. Otherwise, life is misery. And who wants it?
And suffering. Yeah.
Like, really, what's it? It's something, something in short. It's a Shakespeare thing. It's just like, why should we create a life like that? And so, yes, it's been a tough year. There's been a tremendous lot of loss. There's been a lot of death. There's been a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of things going how we don't want them to go.
Yes.
And but how do we surf that? How do we surf it? Well, neutrality and amusement are really, really helpful, I think, and really setting out carrots for ourselves. Okay, so the year is coming to a close. What do we want to create? And how can we create joy in it? How can we give ourselves permission to live because we're living?
Yes. And I see and hear the point you're making about amusement is not that we're denying that people die. We're not denying that it's hard out there, that people have lost their jobs. That isn't ignoring the facts. It's continuing on, shining our light, living by heart, even facing difficulty.
Yes. I have a really good story for this, actually.
Right.
I played soccer. I started playing soccer when only in middle school and high school, but I played well, and I played hard. I was a force. And but what I was on girls. I was on a few different teams, but in this case, I was on the girls traveling team, and we were away. I don't know, Delaware or something, and we had this head-to-head game, so close, really hard. We all played, we played hard, and in the end, it was like that kickoff thing at the end. It was like, it was a tie. So it went on and on and on. And finally we lost. And like, it's over. It's over. Right? Like for me, like I'm like, I will run over anything to get the ball. Like that's who I was. Like just, I was in it wholeheartedly. But then it's over. We lost. So let's go on with ourselves. Right? Right? So we're in the pool after, we're like staying at these people's houses, and they have a party for us, and we're in the pool and I'm playing. We're having fun. I'm having fun. Right? And one of my teammates, she was so mad. She's screaming. She comes at me and she's screaming in my face. How dare I be having fun because we lost? It's like, that was an hour ago. Like in my world, I'm like, right? Like, that's not now. That's an hour ago, you know? And she was so mad that she actually like literally bit me.
What?
out of control.
That's suffering.
Yeah, right. And I'm just like, I was just like, that was the weirdest thing. Right? And it's like, why? Like in the moment, sure. But like, my life, I don't live and die on whether I win a soccer game. In the moment, I am like unstoppable back then. But then it's over. Right? And so right now, you and I are talking and everything's fine.
Yes.
This is the power of present time. It's a very powerful thing. Right now, everything's fine.
Everything is fine for me, but not for everyone.
Not for everyone.
There's a little story. A monk and his student were walking, and there was a big puddle, and some rich woman needed to go, on the road, but she couldn't because she didn't want to soil her dress. So the monk picked her up and walked her across. And the whole time she was hitting him and saying, "Oh, you're making me dirty, and oh, you stink, and blah, blah, blah." And he put her down and then kept walking. And they kept walking and walking. And the student finally, I don't know, an hour later said, "You haven't said anything about that woman being so unkind," right? And he was just doing her a service by helping her. And the monk replies, "I put her down an hour ago." And it's such a beautiful picture. You put the game down when the game was over.
Right.
And that was neutrality. That was being with what is. I did my best.
Yeah.
We didn't win. And now it's time to be in the pool.
Pool.
Yes.
We all know I love to
girl.
swim. Yeah. Yeah. Can we put it down? And yes, other people are suffering right now. And there's nothing I can do about it right now. And me suffering doesn't help them. On the other hand, me living well helps them. Okay. We can get hit, we can lose, we can have loss, we can grieve, we can stand up and life finds a way.
Yeah.
That helps people.
And let's distinguish too, you're not like waving it in anyone's face and saying, "Oh, look at me." No, it's you being present. And if they need an ear regarding their suffering, you willingly listen.
Oh gosh, that's my work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're being the truth. You're living by heart.
Yes.
And that's pointing the way. That's being a leader. And we talked about ducks a couple of shows ago, right? The mama duck just goes.
Yes.
And Wendy is just going when she's living in neutrality and amusement.
Yes. It's such an important thing. I did a lot of suffering in my life before I turned around, before I repented and turned around and learned a different way of being and got the permission to do it. So I'm hoping I'm seeding that for others. Before this training that I share, I was suffering. I mean, I got Time magazine every week and I would cry through it every week, every week for decades. And like, I thought I was helping. But I wasn't helping. Whereas now I stay up with the news. It's not like I don't. I stay up with the news, but I do it from neutral and amused. And it gives me, last time we were talking about resilience. I have resilience now. And I'm not under it all now. And I have more energy now to actually help and serve. it really matters. Can we let the goodness, and that's what these holidays are for.
Mm.
That's why we
Yes.
have regular holy days, regular holidays, regular festivals, because human life is hard. It's really hard. And it always has been. It's been harder in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't have hot and cold running water. They didn't have, it was really hard.
A refrigerator to just open and
yeah, we have a
things out.
lot going for us now, but the basics are still the same. Everything that, who I am, everything I love is passing away in this world. Everything. So the basics are the same. We just get like more flourishes, which is nice. So can we allow ourselves to fill up, because that's what the holidays are for, the festivals are for, to fill up and say, yes, there's bad and there's good. Yes, there's hate and there's love. Yes, there's hard and dark, and yes, there's light.
That's so beautiful. I always think of the holidays as an opportunity to stop looking here at me and my suffering and to focus outward. You know, Christmas is gift giving. Hanukkah is, recognizing the goodness and the release. And I think it's important for us to change that perspective. We've talked about changing perspective. That's looking for what's possible, right? When we be with what is and we change perspectives, sometimes we look inward, sometimes we look outward, but from neutral and amusement, it's a whole different picture.
Mm-hmm. It really
and beautiful.
Yes. Yes. And so we, so let the good times roll as best we can when we can. I don't do it so much anymore, but I consider myself a folk dancer. I've done a lot of folk dancing, and it's fascinating because the some of those folk dances are people who have worked their fingers to the bone for all day, in dirty, hard situations. And somehow they find it in them to go and dance more, move more. Otherwise, it's giving in to just, oh, that's it. That life is nasty, brutish, and short. We can give into that, or we can say, okay, there's nasty, brutish, and short, but there's also light and love and truth and beauty. Can I also drink that?
That's beautiful. And you mentioned in one of our conversations, I'd love for you to speak about it again, the Renaissance.
Yes, I'm not all grown up in this, but it's my understanding that the Renaissance came after the plague. I mean, the society, the people were devastated. It wasn't just the incredible loss of such a huge amount of population, something like 50% or some ridiculous amount. And the law, I mean, I can't imagine the mothers, the children, the spouses, the peer. I mean, it's just, but also, the blacksmith, the guy who, took care, brought in the whatever from the hinterlands that we need.
Right. The bakers, the farmers.
Bakers. So the society itself was cascading in ways that ours has not. God. Our supply lines are intact, and that is something to be very grateful for. I'm very grateful every day for that, and all the essential workers that are making that. So thank you. Meanwhile, what happened after that? Michael and I are reading a book about Da Vinci detailed about Leonardo da Vinci, and where he grew up, it was so, those kind of percents were going on. It's like half the population wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
But what happened? We have Da Vinci and Botticelli and Michelangelo. Like, it's just like out of this decimation came so much growth. And I'm not saying we should try to have decimation, but when we have it,
Yes.
when there's those horrible forest fires, horrific, what comes next? Just crazy growth. New life abundantly is what happens.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
With that, let's take a short break. Thank you, We Are Historically, for your conscious human apparel. Shop online at wearehistorically.com.
Hi, I'm Darius Wilrich. I instruct an online video course that teaches anyone how to play jazz piano like a pro with my proven step-by-step system that makes it simple to learn. Enroll in my Jazz Piano Pro Essentials today and receive a 20% holiday discount by using the coupon code HOLIDAYS2020 at jazzpianopro.com. Happy holidays, everyone.
Welcome back to the Live by Heart Today show. We are talking about how beauty and amazing things can come out of tragedy.
Yeah.
So do your best to make it through the difficult times with structures. Keep your resilience and look for the good. Stay in neutrality and add a dash of amusement.
Yes. Yes. So one of the quotes that I've been truly enamored with for a while now, and this came from Michael's mom, who recently passed. She had on her refrigerator, when we moved her a year ago to the care facility, she'd had on her refrigerator this quote, actually. And but it was wrongly attributed to Darwin. It's actually a quote about Darwin by this whole quote, and longer, is on our Facebook page, by the way. But it's by Leon Megginson, who was a business professor. And it says, "The species that survives is the one that is able best to adapt and adjust to the changing environment in which it finds itself." So can we adapt and adjust? Because then we survive and then we can thrive.
Yes.
And it's funny to bring it up now, but it's like this amusement and neutrality, like that's what helps get us through. And there's talk about this, like the gallows humor that happens in war, that happens in hospitals, that happens in funeral, behind the scenes in funeral parlors. With people who are dealing with the real, one of the things that gets us through is humor. And taking lightly things that aren't light, because otherwise we can get inundated with it.
Yes, and laughter is an amazing thing. Physiologically, the ability to understand a joke or something that's humorous, right, sets us apart. And laughing is a release. It's a release of neurotransmitters. It's a release of tension from the body. And a lot of people don't spend time thinking about this, but our diaphragm, it doesn't always get a good lengthening and shortening and lengthening and shortening. And laughter does that for us. So it's an amazing thing.
And then I'm expecting, just like smiling, we have the release of positive chemicals, and we get to a positive spiral. We get more energy, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then we have what it takes to fight another day. Yeah. So one of the things when we were talking to Rusty, our producer, about this, actually maybe the reason that we're having this conversation is he was noticing last time we were singing about Those Were the Days. Yeah. And he had been noticing that what is that show? That show is a lot of
All in the Family.
Yeah, All in the Family. It's so much. There's just so much like complaining. There's so much. It's squabbling. There's a lot of squabbling. It's very real squabbling family-ish, but also social politically. It was talking about the squabbles of the time. We have our own. And he was saying, of course, because he's brilliant and hilarious, he's like, you know, what people would laugh because there was a laugh track. So he's like, life needs a laugh track.
That's awesome.
Yes. So how do we add the laugh track? I know I sing and hum all the time. My partner is hilarious. It helps a lot.
Yes.
And I have these practices. I laugh a lot. What do you do, Dawn? How do you keep it light? How do you add a laugh track?
Well, my husband and my kids, they're always punning and joking, and if you're not paying enough attention, you'll miss it all. And years ago, I kept saying, oh, I should start a book with all these because they're just so good.
Yes.
I mean, they're so bad and they're so good. And I never started the book, but they don't stop. So there's always something to laugh about. And that humor, my husband's humor, is really subtle and it's pointed, which is very different from me. I'm overt and I'm throw my arms around you and kiss you all over your face kind of humor, right? It's just different. And we happen to get along, so that's good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to talk about the normalization of suffering, you know, the other side of it. So yes, this year has been really challenging and sometimes devastating, etc. It has. And then it's built on top of the lives we were used to, which were normal at the time and how we grew up. But some of us grew up like with this pall on us, heaviness. Some people grew up in families like yours, laughing and joking. Others of us grew up in different circumstances. The set point is like lower, and then this year, like it's just like in some circumstances with some people, it feels like it's not cool to be happy. You have to just be at this low, like as if we're in the funeral parlor all the time.
Yes. You see it on social media for sure.
Right. And so like it's a set point, whether it came from the past or the present. And can we notice that? And I've talked about this, can I notice the suffering? Can I let go? Can I die to what's in the way? But like, this is really important. Like as these festivals, these enjoyment, these holy days, even if we're alone, can we allow in so much more joy? And if we can't, or is it bumping against our like pall that's on us? And that's a place to heal.
Yes.
You know,
exactly a place to heal. I just was reading little excerpts from an author, a current author, and he was talking about historically people seem to live longer, and even in the Bible they talked about people living for centuries at a time. And his theory is the pall, that we are not living very long because of this heavy weight that we're carrying, because of suffering, because our perspective is one of difficulty and hardship and not of amusement and joy and lightness.
And we're evolutionary, where we learn, you know, if a snake we all, you know, came jumping out, then every stick looks like a snake moving forward, and we bring that through the generations. And so really the lattice of disturbance can get pretty thick, and we kind of take ourselves pretty seriously in this society, right? So it all becomes kind of thick, but like that's what healing's about. That's what healing, growth, change is about. Like, can I know the default is to notice the snake in every stick, and that still is there, but can we let it not be so intense? Can we have other experiences? There's lots of ways that you and I work with, you know, ourselves and others to help bring in more peace and more rest and more comfort, instead of that constant And that was all here before this year.
Yes.
This constant
Mm-hmm.
and striving and fear. And we've just built on top of it.
It's true. It's weighed it down even more. I think of seeds. Seeds, most of them begin in the ground. And you're covered in dirt, right? It's a seed covered in dirt. And we don't see what's possible until that stem breaks the surface, and then there are leaves converting sunlight into energy. And it becomes this amazing and beautiful thing. But if you just stay stuck in the dirt, you never see the potential. You never see the light.
Right.
And then, of course, you being who you are, a stem with leaves and flowers, is joy for others.
Yes.
And shows them how they can be.
Yes, it's just huge, because I believe we learn in our soul as monkey see, monkey do, and so it really helps everyone when we allow ourselves to grow into who we really are.
Yeah,
it really does. Wait, maybe I can do it too. Maybe I can have that permission. Maybe I can have that freedom. Maybe I can have that joy. And the things get seeded, and the life changes and gets better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned holidays, holy days, that we have them for a purpose. And that's beautiful, because maybe we can celebrate a little bit, even though there's death around us.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can enjoy being alive and appreciate who we are with, rather than spending time being upset about who we aren't with.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And, every day above ground is a good day. And it's a good day that people we love are up above ground. Even if we can only talk to them on Zoom, it's still a gigantic blessing.
It is. And we're still connected, and we can stay connected.
Yes.
Thanks, Wendy.
Awesome.
I guess that's it. Is there anything else you want to say? Happy holidays to everyone.
Yeah. Solstice is past and the light is growing. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who's watching us today. We'd love to hear from you. If our conversation spoke to you, please tell us what's on your heart by leaving us a comment. You can reach out. For more information about how you can live by heart, please go to livebyhearttoday.com. Like and follow this page and turn on notifications so you don't miss any recordings. We're here every week on Thursdays at 4:44 Pacific time. From our heart to yours, we are creating a better tomorrow because we live by heart today.
And that concludes this portion of
Live by Heart Today!
Thank you for watching. View more episodes on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's give a shout out to our sponsors. Shop online at wearehistorically.com. Conscious Human Apparel.
Hi, I'm Darius Wilrich. I'll teach you everything you need to know about playing jazz piano like a pro with my 12-week online video course and downloadable guidebook, Jazz Piano Pro Essentials. Enroll today at jazzpianopro.com.
Have a happy